Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my recipe for churros and the chocolate dipping sauce that goes along with them, and I think you'll be surprised at how simple this truly is. So we are going to start out by making our choux pastry with 1 cup of water, 1/8 of a cup of sugar, and 6 tablespoons of butter, and we're just going to bring all of that to a boil. Now, a choux pastry is a very light textured pastry. Typically, you do bake it in the oven for something like profiteroles or cream puffs. But today we're going to be frying it in oil, which will still allow it to become nice and light on the inside, but crisp on the outside. And this has a lot of fat and water in the dough in order to hydrate the flour very well so that the dough will be flexible and able to be piped so we can actually get it to fry. And that is why we are boiling the butter and water and the sugar, because it will be able to hydrate the flour better when it's added in. So once it does come to a boil, we will add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, as well as 1 teaspoon of salt and our cup of flour. So we are going to turn off the heat right before we add the flour, and then you just want to stir it with a wooden spoon until it's all thickened and you cannot see any more flour. And then you just want to let it sit for about 10 minutes until it is cool. I usually transfer it into a bowl before then, but then after the 10 minutes we are going to add in 2 eggs, adding them in one at a time, and this will make the dough softer and more malleable, and the fat in the eggs will also prevent the dough from becoming dry, and it adds extra moisture because of the fat. And the proteins in the egg whites will form a sturdy structure when heated, which will help support the air bubbles inside the dough. So once both of the eggs have been added and the dough is nice and soft, I just transfer it to a piping bag with a large open star tip, which will give the churros their signature ridges. And then you don't want to fill the piping bag up all the way, or else it will be a little bit hard to squeeze out the choux pastry into the oil. So I usually fill it up halfway and then do a refill. So now we are going to start heating up our oil to 375 degrees. I'm using peanut oil, and I used just enough so that the churros would be fully submerged when they got put into the oil. And while that is heating up, I like to make the chocolate sauce, which I start by heating up 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream, bringing that to a boil, and then adding it on top of 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And what this essentially makes is a chocolate ganache, and the ratio of chocolate to cream is 1:1, so it's going to have some nice thickness. And the cinnamon also helps bring out the cinnamon sugar that we are going to roll the churros in, but it also gives some more depth to the chocolate sauce. And you just want to mix that until it is fully smooth, and then you want to let it cool for a little bit. So now we are going to start piping our churros. I decided to do about 2.5 to 3 inch churros just because I like the smaller ones. So you just want to pipe it out, use your kitchen scissors to cut it, and you want to be careful with the hot oil. Always try to lay the dough away from you so that you don't get splashed. And then you just want to fry these for about 5 minutes until they become nice and golden brown. And once they are looking cooked, you can remove them and then transfer them right into the cinnamon sugar. And you want to roll them in the cinnamon sugar while there is still some hot oil on there so that the cinnamon sugar will stick to the outside. And then you just want to keep going until you've fried all your churros and they're ready to serve. This recipe is definitely something impressive and different. But it's actually not quite as hard as you would think it is, and it's definitely a delicious treat. Thank you so much for watching. As always, the recipe will be in the description as well as on my website, bakingwithbrie.com. Feel free to like and subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future, and feel free to leave any suggestions in the comments below. Bye!